What is up? I just wanted to come back on here and give you all a follow-up on my process and how that's going, how I'm growing, and to kind of just bring some insight to some other dots that I've connected along the way from posting the last live on Sunday and talking about that part of my journey. So a few things. Interestingly enough, I realized that one of the things that I totally fell off on when I fell into this place of darkness, and you know, I don't even, yes, it was definitely darkness, but it wasn't like, as you go through spiritual awakenings and as you grow through the dark nights of the soul, there's many nights, there's multiple awakenings. We don't just have one and then it's like, okay, we've reached the top. It's there. They happen, and it's having grace with yourself, having grace with your process. And I am aware of these things. I have been through many dark nights of the soul, and I've been through multiple awakenings. I have done a lot of growth. I've done a lot of internal work. I've moved through a lot of energies and integrated a lot of energies as well. And but what happens in these awakening processes is we forget. We forget the work we've already done. We forget the growth that we've already had. And but it's really exactly where we need to be. Those moments when we get to that point and it's teaching us something. It's not a moment to ask, it's not to, why is this happening to me and play victim. I've sat in that for a long time, or I used to, but it's what is this teaching me? What am I supposed to learn here? And there's that adage that says they didn't know, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we were seeds. When you go into those moments of darkness and into those places of darkness, you're being buried and planted for a reason. And as I started to kind of self-reflect deeper after going live, I made the correlation. I guess I could probably pull up my chart. I made the correlation of the north and south node and the transition that they made in specifically the south node into Scorpio. And the south node moving into Scorpio, I've already pegged it. I've already called it. If you're in my different groups and things, that I definitely get the energy of, we're going to be growing through collectively a dark night of the soul, but it's a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful place to be, to get planted, to get rooted, to really root down so that you can literally reemerge and grow and Scorpio yourself out of the depths. And what's so beautiful about Scorpio and the Scorpio South Node is the fact that the dive deep down is where we turn the soil over. It's those moments where we get to make sure that the seeds that we are going to plant are in well cultivated soil. And it was interesting. That's another thing. I've been having this thing about not really labeling experiences or anything. Everything is interesting. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not something that can delineate any of that. It is interesting because trying to label something is trying to like have an attachment to it. And side note, but anyway, so I realized in this process that I actually had stopped my gratitude. And it wasn't until that, I think Sunday, when I actually started, Saturday, when I started gratituding again. The last day that I had gratitude did, December 31st, 2021. So I went a solid 3 weeks of not writing my gratitude. And it's something so simple. It's something so easy. It is something that a lot of us know to do. But until we aren't doing it, we don't really realize the impact that it actually makes on our personal development, on our personal growth, and on our evolution. So that was one thing that I was like, wow, like because I realized I wasn't necessarily in a space of gratitude, obviously. If I'm in a space of comparison, if I'm in a space of self-judgment, there's no way that I can also be in a space of gratitude. Like, those things cannot simultaneously exist. So that is why gratitude is so important, is because it puts you in a place and into a mind frame and into, the attitude of gratitude. It perpetuates and ripples out into your life beyond just you writing what it is that you're grateful for. So what I tell my clients, my students, is to actually not just write, the beginning part of the day, like write what you're grateful for, but at the end of the day, write what you're grateful for what has happened. To acknowledge the greatness, literally, like grateful, the greatness that is in your life already, and that is your life. But back to the South Node. So, if we look at the charts and things, or astrology charts, the South Node and the North Node move always in a retrograde motion. So, instead of moving, well, I guess everything moves counterclockwise. Yes. The nodes move clockwise, no matter what. So they hit at 29 degrees when they enter a new sign. The 29th degree is the karmic degree of completion, and is a final degree point right before the transition into the next sign, if going the correct way. And the South Node really in Scorpio at that 29th degree is the heaviest. And there's been so many people growing through things at this moment, collectively, individually. And, as people start to speak about this more and more, and we shed light on our darkness, we actually get to notice, like, we're not growing through anything alone. Like, there's other people involved. There's other people experiencing possibly similar things, or on the spectrum of certain things as well. And as we start to play through this, like, we have 18 months of the South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus. So one would think, oh shit, this is just the beginning, like, it's gonna get worse. Well, after reflecting and meditating and thinking about it, I actually get the sense that, like, the worst is right here. It's right at this culminating point, and it's going to start to ease up, because that culmination point of the 29th degree really brings all the energy together, and it gives this sense of, here it all is. What are you going to do with it? And so I think that's part of the reason why so many of us have been experiencing so much darkness lately, is really because of that South Node in Scorpio. And it's so interesting because, like I had mentioned, when I did that workshop, and it was on shadow work and what it is and, you know, what you're supposed to do, I was not in a place of shadow. I was in a beautiful space of light. And it was almost like the workshop was for me as much as it was for everyone else. But it was like, Simone, you're going to be growing through something soon too. And what are you going to do when you have these moments? And are you going to practice what you preach and what you teach? And it's so interesting how the universe just plays out and what it does and how it, grants us permission and the opportunity to experience life in different ways. And, so back to what happened on Monday. The class wasn't as full as it normally is. And your girl did not cry. I also well prepared. I made sure I was well hydrated. I had a protein shake before classes. I teach 2 classes before that class that I take. And one of them is a hot class, and it's exhausting. Like, by the time I'm taking that class, it's noon, and if I'm not well hydrated or fed by then, I was setting myself up for failure. I had not been well hydrated. I had not been making sure that I eat before, but also, like, you always are experiencing the exact experience you're supposed to be experiencing. Always. And like I say, in all ways, no matter what, you are supposed to be exactly where you are right now. And if your person, your soul, your being doesn't like where you are at this moment, that is your decision if you choose to, as a human and as a sovereign being, currently. We get to decide what it is we want to change, if we choose to change, and how long we want to be wallowing and wavering on that bridge that I spoke about of the gap between knowing and doing. I was on that bridge. For quite some time. And all things considered, I've shortened the bridge to be on it for only 3 weeks or whatever versus, there's times I was on that for 3 years. Let's be real. Shit. Karmic relationship for 16, like that, like sitting in the shit, because the experiences that you need to grow through, that you need to have, that you need to attain it, are exactly the ones you were supposed to have, and the ones that you were supposed to have for the length of time that you have them, teach you the lessons and grant you more experiences to give you the more wisdom and to put you in the place where you are now. And I have grown through a lot of things in my life, put myself in a lot of situations. After you make a choice consciously more than once, that is your decision, regardless of who might have presented you the opportunity or the decision to make. It is your decision that you should now own. And I was owning decisions that, all things considered, not the right path, not the light path or whatever, but it was my path. It was my place of where I was at, and it brought me to who I am now. And it was interesting because on Monday, before I went to the other studio to go to teach and then take that class, I was approached by one of the other teachers who went through the fitness training right after I did my yoga teacher training. And my yoga teacher training was coincided with the fitness training right when ours ended. We were also enrolled into the Pilates teacher training. And anything that you do in Pilates, you're doing totally different in yoga as far as your breath and the movements and the things. And all of us that were finishing the yoga teacher training, were like literally like, what is this Pilates shit, and how are we supposed to be integrating this and working with this energy and like and teaching this? Like, this is so not the same, not how we were just taught for 10 weeks on how to do things. And he literally said to me, he's like, I just have to say, you are literally a completely different person. I reflected back on the person that you were, and that was 3 years ago. It was the end of 2018. And I reflected back on he's like, if something just reminded me of like our exchanges and in our experience back then. And I was like, oh, I know. I was a total bitch. Like a bitch, like a total mean person. I don't even like using that word anymore because I don't like talking negatively about myself. And I used to say that word all the time. And I don't like to say it to anyone else because I don't want to be literally voicing that word. But I was a brat. Like, I was so mean. I was like in such I was right at my downward spiral. I was right at the moment of my breaking point. I was literally broken down, and in the heat and the crux of the dark night of my soul, and like my main one, and one of them, and it was just so great to like have that exchange, and to even him further say like, your growth is absolutely incredible. Like, to see the person that you are now, I would have never even, if I didn't know you back then, I would have not have known that you were the way you were when you were the way you were back then. And I mean, but it takes grace with yourself. It takes compassion with yourself. It takes, you sitting in these moments and asking yourself the tough questions of, what is this teaching me? What am I here to learn? And then there's the balance too, because you'll find that one, misery loves company, and two, not everyone is where you are at the same time that you were there. So to be cognizant of the energy that you're outputting while you're in this place is also very, very important. To make sure to be able to notice when other energies, other people are responding to you, and it's not jiving with them, or they're not receptive to the dialogue, or maybe you, like, if you're sitting in your shit and they know that you're sitting in your shit, they're likely not really one to want to sit in the shit with you. And I find it a very empowering statement when people come to you to talk to you, to initiate the conversation, or as you see where the conversation is going, and to be aware enough to either one, just listen and take it for what it is, or two, definitely listen. But also, if they're in a space where you don't want to be, that is your choice to continue to be there, right? We just said that. So that is your opportunity to then say or ask, are you looking to vent, or are you looking for solutions? Let them answer honestly, because they might not even realize that they're just sitting there venting. And then depending on what their answer is and what their response is, you can determine if you are still willing to be part of the conversation and literally take your power back from that. It's also interesting, the alignment and the timing of when this whole situation happened, considering, the turn of the year, the new year. Venus has been retrograde for quite some time. She's going direct on Saturday. And Mercury had just gone retrograde, I believe, when I did that. Actually, that's wrong. I don't know. Anyway, Mercury had just gone retrograde in the beginning of the year. And, is that right? Mercury retrograde. Here's the chart. And, yes, the 14th of January. So, Mercury had gone, it's just interesting timing, right? Like, the planets, the astrology, like, they don't lie. They are very much influential in our collective consciousness. Very much so. Whether or not you believe in it, it has been around for a very, very, very long time. And we do have likely an understanding that we are all energy. And that means as above, so below, as within. And meaning the planes, like above us, below us, here. And they do influence our beings collectively. And that's why I think it is such a beautiful tool and such a awesome opportunity to really further tap into what's going on astrologically, to just bring some understanding, some grounding, some additional wisdom and knowledge of where you are, how it could be affecting you. And even with having these tools, though, like, you still go through the shit. And, I mean, to hear my coach, Sean Whalen, and my mentor, Sean Whalen, and he has another friend that he had divulged on our last call. That was, or I think a call or something. Anyway, that the man makes millions of dollars a year, like multiple millions of dollars, what Sean calls fuck you money. And he's been sitting in the shit too. Like, it has no bearing on who you are, what you do, how much money you make. We all have these moments of, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Why am I thinking this way? Why are these thoughts in my thought process? Why is this in my brain? Because it's supposed to be there. It's literally supposed to be there. So it can teach you something. And it's your job to learn what it is that it's teaching you. As a human. Like, that is what we're here to do, is we're here to ask questions. And in the process of asking questions, we might even go as far as like, well, what does this even matter because of what, like, the fucking state of the world? And like, what is this after we leave this form? What is this all for? Like, trust me, like, sometimes if I just keep jumping, keep rabbit holing, that's like sometimes where the hole goes. And I'm like, that is not my concern. That is not my worry. It's not even a worry, but my only priority, it's a better word, is to make the most of this embodiment, this form, this lifetime, every single time I get to open my eyes. Because we have no fucking idea how, finite this capacity is. And we have no bearing on when, unless we choose, I'll digress, but unless we choose to know when and to take that power. But that, this essence of ourself, this entire embodiment, it's not even for us. It's for each other. What are you doing with your life if you're not sharing it? What are you not doing if you're not communal, like having community and conversing and sharing your experiences? Why do we feel the need so much to keep and hinder and like keep ourselves closed off and only show the good and the great parts of ourselves? Like, those good and great parts of ourselves are there because of the shit we've been through, the shit we've sat in, and the bridge that we've chosen to be on between the gap of knowing and doing. And your story, like, I know I haven't shared all of my story to everyone publicly just yet, but it's on, who knows, maybe 2022 will be the day, because it's brewing. Like, not, it's been done, so it's like, it is what it is. But like, as far as it getting out into the open in a more specific way, to shed light on your darkness and on your darkest parts of yourself paves way for others to see that they too can grow through it, can get to the other side, like that there is still light at the end of the tunnel. It's there. And you making it through is your opportunity to shine the way for someone else, in whatever capacity that is, whether that's, on a platform like this, or just in your everyday conversation, or being a better human and initiating deeper conversations with others, and not just, this surface level shit, or, there's so much of this human connection that I think we are missing. There's like something that just flew by. That was kind of cool. Or that has been separated from our experience because of how the human experience has evolved. With things like this, and with, phones and AI and the metaverse and all these things, like, we're moving into a very interesting time, and the human connection is going to be needed even more than it has been before. So I guess this is just more of me, one, shedding light on that experience, and two, I don't know, granting you permission, and not permission, that was very egoic, but, a moment to self-reflect and to, share, because someone out there needs to hear more about you and how you've overcome things. It's like, our elders and our ancestors that we've admired, and like those traditions that they've passed on, the culture that they've passed on, that, I feel like is probably one generation from being lost. That's why it's important. That's why this is important, and sharing and using your voice in a time where, I know from experience, not being able to use it in the capacity or in the reach that I would hope. If anything, these last 2 years have taught us is hopefully, one, the power of our voice, and two, it's only powerful if we actually use it. So I kind of went round and round on that, but your girl is back on her mat. She did not fall off. And I'm actually trying new things, not just focusing on yoga, trying to focus on the holistic aspect of this human experience. And I took a barre class the other day. I'm about to go take a boxing class, get back into my competitive nature and spirit, go back to my roots, like with sports and things like that, and get back to my inquisitive nature, my creative nature, that childhood like spirit of just trying something new because I don't know it, right? Like that's what we always forget is, in this process of evolution, the whole point of we get programmed, and somewhere along the way we've decided that whatever it is that we have deemed our truth, but we don't even know where that it has been programmed from. We don't even know where that program got implemented into us from. And the beautiful thing of awakening is, one, awakening to that fact, and two, then deciding which of those programs you still want to keep, and three, going back to your childhood-like nature, which is pre-programming, 7 years old. By the time you're 7, 8 years old, all the programs that could be instilled in you have been instilled in you, that are like very cognitive ones that change and transform how you think, how you process information, how you take in information, and how you put it back out into the world. So, like, keep doing the work, keep going back, keep digging, like, keep Scorpioing. But the beautiful thing about Scorpio is the fact that it does get it's the emergence, but it's also the disintegration. It's also the transformation. It is from something to ashes. And the phoenix does not rise from the ashes unless it is burned. So, burn. Disintegrate. So that you can recreate. So that you can cultivate. So that you can cultivate the soil that you have transformed into ashes and rise above. Like the Scorpio, the tail on the glyph. Rise back above. All right. Have a great night. Namaste.